In 1935, a British explorer was digging in the sand just west of the Sphinx. He wasn't looking for anything in particular. He was cataloging surface debris, routine work, and then his shovel hit something hollow. He knelt down, cleared the sand with his hands, and found a stone door leading straight down into the earth. He descended the stairs alone, holding a lantern. What he found at the bottom was not a tomb. It was not a storage chamber. It was a city, an entire underground city carved directly into the bedrock beneath the Giza plateau. He submitted his findings to the Egyptian authorities that same week. By the following month, the site was sealed, his notes were confiscated, and for the next 70 years, nobody was allowed back in. Today we're going to talk about what he found, what the radar surveys confirmed in 2009, and why the Egyptian government has spent nearly a century making sure you never hear about it. Before we get into the city itself, we need to talk about the Sphinx, because the Sphinx is not what you think it is. Most people picture it as a standalone monument, a giant stone face in the desert built by the pharaoh Khafre around 2500 BC. That picture is incomplete in ways that should disturb you. The Sphinx is not sitting on flat ground. It sits inside a massive enclosure, a rectangular pit cut directly into the bedrock of the Giza plateau. That enclosure is enormous, 260 feet long, 60 feet deep. The amount of rock that was removed to create that enclosure is staggering. Millions of tons of solid limestone quarried out of the earth and removed before the Sphinx was ever carved. Where did all that rock go? Some of it became the blocks used to build the temples directly in front of the Sphinx, but most of it simply disappeared. No debris field, no dumping ground, no archaeological evidence of where millions of tons of quarried stone ended up. It vanished, and nobody in mainstream Egyptology has ever satisfactorily explained where it went. Now here is where it gets interesting. In 1987, a team of Japanese researchers from Waseda University was granted permission to conduct ground-penetrating radar surveys of the Giza plateau. They were looking for geological anomalies, cracks in the bedrock, water tables, standard geophysical work. What they found was not standard. Directly beneath the left paw of the Sphinx, their radar detected a rectangular chamber, not a natural cavity, not a geological crack, a rectangle perfectly shaped, man-made. The chamber appeared to be approximately 9 meters long and 12 meters deep. They submitted their findings to the Egyptian Antiquities Organization. Permission to excavate was denied. The Japanese team packed up and left. The chamber sits there to this day, untouched, unopened, and that was just the beginning. In 1991, two researchers named John Anthony West and Dr. Robert Schoch, the same geologist who identified the water erosion on the Sphinx, commissioned their own ground-penetrating radar survey of the plateau. Their equipment detected multiple anomalies, tunnels, running horizontally beneath the Sphinx enclosure, chambers, some filled with what the radar suggested was water or another liquid, a large rectangular structure beneath the rear haunches of the Sphinx, deeper than the Japanese chamber, much larger. West and Schoch were so excited by the findings that they applied immediately for an excavation permit. The application was rejected within 2 weeks. No reason given. They applied again. Rejected again. They applied a third time, this time with backing from a major American university. The Egyptian authorities didn't even respond. West spent the rest of his life trying to get back onto that plateau. He died in 2018. The chambers he found are still sealed. Now let's go back to Walter Emery, the man who started all of this in 1935. Emery was not a crank. He was not a conspiracy theorist. He was one of the most respected Egyptologists of the 20th century, a professor, a fellow of the British Academy, a man who spent 40 years excavating in Egypt with the full backing of the Egyptian government. When he described what he found beneath the plateau, people listened. What he described was extraordinary. A descending staircase cut from solid limestone leading to a horizontal passage running north toward the Sphinx, side chambers branching off the main corridor, some sealed with large stone slabs, some open, containing broken pottery and artifacts that appeared to predate the Old Kingdom entirely. A larger hall at the end of the passage, its ceiling supported by carved columns, and beyond that hall more passages, extending further than his lantern could illuminate. He estimated he had found the entrance to a network that could extend beneath the entire plateau. When the Egyptian authorities arrived to inspect his findings, they brought armed guards. Emery was escorted out. The entrance was sealed with concrete, and within a year, the entire area was declared a restricted military zone. It remains one today. Here is something that has never been fully explained. Ancient Egyptian texts, specifically the inventory stele found near the Sphinx in the 19th century, refer to a place called the House of Osiris, a chamber beneath the Sphinx, described as containing the records and knowledge of a civilization that existed before Egypt itself. The ancient Egyptians called it Zep-Tepi, the first time, a golden age, a period of advanced civilization that preceded their own by thousands of years. They built the Sphinx not as a monument to a pharaoh, but as a guardian, a marker, pointing to something beneath it that needed to be protected. The Edgar Cayce readings from the 1930s, and yes, we are aware of how that sounds, specifically predicted that a hall of records would be found beneath the right paw of the Sphinx, containing the complete history of the lost civilization of Atlantis. What makes that uncomfortable is not the Atlantis part. What makes it uncomfortable is that ground-penetrating radar surveys have detected anomalies beneath both paws of the Sphinx. Cayce said the right paw. The Japanese found something under the left. Neither has been opened. Both are being actively suppressed. In 2009, a researcher named Dr. Zahi Hawass, who was at that time the head of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, the most powerful position in Egyptian archaeology, was asked directly about the chambers beneath the Sphinx. His answer was extraordinary. He said, and I am paraphrasing, that there are tunnels and chambers beneath the Sphinx, but that they are of no archaeological significance and do not need to be excavated. Think about that. The most powerful archaeologist in Egypt, admitting the chambers exist and simultaneously declaring them unimportant without ever opening them. He knows what's down there. He just isn't telling us. In 2012, a separate team using updated ground-penetrating radar technology conducted an independent survey of the plateau. They detected a massive cavity beneath the Sphinx enclosure, larger than anything previously reported, running east to west beneath the entire length of the Sphinx body. They estimated it could be 30 meters wide and up to 20 meters tall in places. That is not a natural cavity. That is not a geological anomaly. That is a space built by someone for a reason. The team submitted their findings to 3 separate journals. All 3 rejected the paper without peer review. They attempted to present at the annual Egyptology conference. They were denied a speaking slot. Their survey equipment was confiscated at Cairo airport on their next visit to Egypt. They have not been back since. So let's put this all together. Walter Emery finds a staircase leading to an underground network, sealed immediately. Area declared a military zone. Japanese radar team finds a rectangular chamber under the left paw. Excavation denied. West and Schoch find tunnels, chambers, and a large structure under the rear haunches. 3 excavation permits denied, no reason given. Zahi Hawass admits the chambers exist on camera, calls them unimportant without opening them. Independent team finds a massive cavity running the entire length of the Sphinx. Papers rejected, equipment confiscated, every single survey, every single researcher, every single time. Denied, rejected, removed, silenced. At what point does a pattern stop being bureaucracy and start being policy? What is under that plateau that is so important it has been worth nearly a century of suppression? The records of a lost civilization, technology that rewrites human history, or something else entirely? Something that powerful people have decided the rest of us are simply not allowed to know. I don't have the answer, but I know this. The day they finally open those chambers, if they ever do, nothing will be the same. Because whatever is down there has been waiting for a very long time. Subscribe, because next week we go even deeper. We're covering the ancient map that showed Antarctica without ice, drawn 300 years before Antarctica was discovered, and the admiral who found it, and was immediately silenced by the United States government. I'll see you there.